Okay, so today we are looking at checking for equality in Java. We are back in our class app. What I have may look different from what you have. We've done different things in different versions of it, so I don't know whether or not the one you're looking at looks like this. Um, but that's not really important for this exercise. Um, we're going to start out with in the main method. Let me close some of these that I don't need. And the first thing I want to do is I want to display the information from a couple of these um, test students that we created. So I'm gonna output the toString from test student 3, and now we will copy and paste and output the information on test student 4. So they both have the same name, the same ID, the same user type, the same blank email, and the same bus number. So you might think that if we check to see if they were equal, you see it comes back false down here at the bottom. All right, so they are not equal. So now we could try our dot equals, because we said that's how we check for equality of strings, right? And it still comes back false. So when you look at code.org, it's going to talk about overriding the dot equals method. What we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to create some new methods of our own. So I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it method library.java. And I'm going to start out with creating my class. And in this class, I'm going to create a method that is going to check to see if the two objects we are comparing have the same user type. So in this case, they're both students. So I'm going to go, it's going to be public, static. And since all of our subclasses extend user, if I pass a user, it will um, it'll recognize any of the students or teachers or secondary students or post-secondary students because they all extend user. And then we are simply going to return user1 dot get user type double equals user2 dot get user type. Now this requires that in your user class you have a get user type. As long as you have a get user type, you can run this. And let's go back to the main. And I'm just going to add in some quick dividers. So I've added a couple of dividers. I also added back in the check using the double equals and some text so we know which one we're checking. So we have test student 3, test student 4, and then the equality checks using equals. Equals came back false, using dot equals came back false. So now we are going to try using our same type method that we just wrote. And we run this. And now we have true. Okay. So now we're also going to go back and we are going to write another method to determine if the two users being passed are the same user. And this is the same as what we did in the main method. We're just doing it in method format, so we can call the method rather than retyping everything each time. All right, here we go. So now when we go back to the main method, we can now test using same user. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it. I'm going to change type to user. And when I run this, it's going to be just like earlier when we checked using the double equals, and it's going to return false. Now, if I were to go in and reassign test student 4 to test student 3, so if I do test student 3 equals test student 4, so that's now reassigning the object that is test student 4 to the variable named test student 3. So now if we check again, we'll say that we're using it after reassignment. And now it's true because they are both pointing to the same object. They're both pointing to the same place in memory. So while we can override the dot equals method in our applications so that we can have dot equals check for whatever we want it to, we can also write different methods that are going to check for different factors that might make something equivalent. We can also, because the user class, or because all classes extend the object class, we can actually take this and we can rewrite it passing objects. So object user 1, object user 2, run that. And now we've written a method that we can use in other applications. So the one thing that we are going to work on in the coming weeks is building our own library of methods. And this is a method that you would be able to take and use in a completely different project. It doesn't have to have a user class. It just has to have one class where we want to be able to compare instances of that class.